to another episode of Indie Wine Chats. You might recognize this location. We were here last week at the warehouse, and we have Kat again with us.
It was just so fun last time.
We had to do it again.
Well, actually, this week's episode, literally, while we were filming the last episode, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it.
Yep.
So here
we went with it. Our last week's episode inspired this week. And involved Kat.
But that's how it happens, I feel like. When you're doing things in life, you are doing one thing and it inspires you to do something else.
Well, here's the reality of how Erica and I film Indie Wine Chats. Hey, what should we talk about this week? This. Okay, cool. Great. Next, moving on. We're not ever like, we wanted this whole platform to just be like chill and not be
like what we would normally chat about and not like too planned and too like rehearsed. I mean, we like think about it, but we never rehearse what we're going to say.
No, because it makes it more genuine and authentic.
We're just like whatever we're thinking, we're drinking our wine, we're chatting. So
it's great.
What you would do on a Friday night.
Yeah, for real.
So you guys are probably wondering what we are actually going to talk about this week. And we are going to talk a little bit about female entrepreneurship, being business women in this industry and kind of what that looks like. We're really focusing on lies that we all tell ourselves. And as women, I think that we are so hyper-focused on the negative and like what we can't do in our business or what we feel like people are telling us we can't do that we forget to focus on like
what we can do
what
and
we
what
can
we're
do.
good at, what our
Yeah,
strengths are.
exactly. So that's just kind of like what we're chatting about, talking about, starting with. So we have some little notes here, so don't mind me. Our first one that we wanted to talk about was kind of the fear of the unknown or the fear of just not being the smartest person in the room or that kind of thing. And I know, Kat, you mentioned last week, you were like, when people were like, oh, well, what's your business degree? Or where'd you get your business degree? And people have one response or the other.
Yes.
So refresh us on that a little bit.
So I always get asked, where did you go to business school? And, it could be from employees, it could be from employees' parents, it could just be from people in general. And I say I didn't. And they say, oh, okay, how do you run a business? Or I get, oh, great, good for you for living out your passion. And unfortunately, I don't pick the ones that are like, oh, great for you for living out your passion. I don't let those sink in my memory bank. I let the ones that are like
the negative.
Oh, those are the ones that always get me every time. I mean, to the point where like 3 or 4 months ago, I was frantically like IEPY, online courses for business degrees. And it's like, it comes to a point of, am I doing that for them or am I doing that for myself?
Right.
Because I know I'm good at what I do.
Right.
I know I can be better at what I do, but I know I'm pretty good. And so I shut that computer down.
Yeah, I bet you did. And done with you.
Yeah, and I'm done.
Yeah. Yep. So just that kind of like fear of, I don't know, I'm not going to be good at this or whatever.
Right. What if I try it and I suck at it or I fail?
Yeah.
Or there's so many other people who do what I do that have a degree or have more experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's chat a little bit about not being worthy, because I think that's another thing that we kind of feel as female entrepreneurs is this whole idea of, well, I'm not deserving of that. I'm not worthy of that. Like, I don't deserve that praise or this really great, awesome opportunity or this growth or whatever it is. For some reason, there's some mental block that's like, nope, this is, you know what I mean?
Yes, and the first thing I think of when you say that is I think, a long time ago, society told us that the one thing, place of business.
It's fine.
The one thing that we're supposed to be really good at, 2 things we're supposed to be really good at is being a mom and a wife. And I don't know where it switched to where we felt like, you know what, move over, because I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of hard to, I don't know, I feel like we're still in that transition period of the move over. I want to join.
I do too. It seems like such a foreign concept kind of, or like that stereotypical 50s housewife that you see displayed in, I don't know, all of the movies that we have seen or whatever.
Mad Men from
Netflix. Okay.
So
yes, exactly. Great example. And I feel like there's still this kind of stereotype that it's like, no, these are your roles and responsibilities. Right. So even if you want to have this career, that's great, but you still have to be this way too.
Right. Where it's changing. I'm sure Matt changes just as many diapers as I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets her dressed, and he
bathes
her just
as much. Laundry, he vacuums, he cooks.
Now, if you ask our parents that question, if their dads did, if
It's
the
totally
husband did
different
that,
ballgame.
and it was
Yeah.
absolutely, no, I went to work, I was the breadwinner, I did X, Y, and Z, where that's changing, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
but
It's
I'm
great.
so
Well, it's
happy.
nice,
It
I think,
is.
to have that balance because
It is.
obviously as women, like there's things that we're better at and we do, and there's things
Yes.
that men do that are, it's just a difference of personalities.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then when you come together and like there's some things that like I'm not very good at that Nate is, and there's things that Nate's not very good at that I'm good at.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's
Right.
all about that. It's not like you have to do this and you have to do this.
Right.
Every person, regardless of everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and it's about
Everybody.
finding those
Right.
and building upon those.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're
And
absolutely
not
right.
just being put in a certain box because of.
And that's how it is in business. I mean, we've got myself, Erica, and Matt as the business owners, and we are all three so different.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yep.
sit us down,
We didn't
are
talk about that in
so
last week's
different.
episode.
No,
We
we
should have.
we are so different, you guys. I am very hardcore. I am definitely bad cop, 100%. Erica is good cop. She's the one that people can go to and share their feelings with. And Matt is just
Middleman.
he's a middleman.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on him, but I think that we, the three of us combined together, there's no stopping, which
Right.
is great. That's what it should be. Instead of the three of us, there's one dominant one that's
Right.
leading the pack. All three of us are doing it
Which
together,
in
but they're
general-
all equally
People would probably think the male of the group.
correct. They
Yeah.
would think Matt.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually
Yeah.
Matt's the silent one of them.
Yeah.
And,
He's
know,
like, all right, all you guys do your
yeah,
thing, whatever.
all right,
See ya."
whatever. Yeah, no, I think, and that's what people think. It's
Yeah.
always the male.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move on to talk about failure. Because I think this is another thing that we tell ourselves. Not true. Not a truth. But we are like, well, what if we fail? What if we fail? I'm going to fail. This is going to fail.
Yes.
Fail. And it's like, hold on a minute. What if we turned that and said, but what if we succeed?
Yeah, what if I can?
What if we do?
Right.
And what will we accomplish? Instead of that, like, constant.
Yeah.
you
And I
know?
think too, we put this fear of failure as always being such a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that, not that you want to fail, but I feel like that's part of life. There are things that you're probably going to
You
fail
have to
at.
live through it.
But you have to
to
think
fail.
about like what you can learn from that.
Yes.
And like, instead of seeing it as such a negative thing, like I would rather do something and fail than wish I did something and never had
Yes.
done it
Right.
and never know either
Yes.
way.
Well,
and
like,
just
talk
because you
about-
failed doesn't mean, well, that's it. Now I
Right.
have to give up
Done.
because I couldn't do it.
Yep.
Okay, well now you know that didn't work, so
Right.
let's try a different way.
Right. Well, and talk about like when you quit your like full-time job to do what you
Your
love
own
to
thing.
do. That was
Yeah.
probably scary.
Well, yeah, because you're
It's
relying
terrifying.
on a constant paycheck,
Right.
that you know you're going to get.
Right, that you're
and
not
so,
getting anymore.
yeah, and then taking that leap of, well,
But
here we
you
go.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how
Exactly.
awesome. And you're such a good example to show like you can do it.
Yep. And you didn't let that fear of failure stand in your way,
Right.
because I think so many times we do as female entrepreneurs let that fear of failing be the thing that says, nope, I'm not going to do it because I might fail and I'm
Right.
not doing it.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you may fail. I mean, there were
Yeah.
plenty of times, I mean,
Oh, 100%.
even now, I feel like there are
You
days
try
where I'm
things
like,
in your
well,
life.
I'm failing, but you know what? Let's try it differently. Let's
Right.
reevaluate, whatever. So you just have to figure
You
out.
can't let that define you.
Right.
And I
No.
think you also have to surround yourself with people who encourage and support you,
Yes.
and that you can lean, whether that be our husbands
Right.
or
Our friends.
great friends
Yes.
or whatever,
Right.
because I probably wouldn't have left my job if Nate wasn't like,
do it.
no,
Do
you
it.
can do it. Like,
Yeah.
just do it. Like, we've
I'll
talked
be
about
here.
it. Like,
Yeah.
let's do it,
Yeah.
And so I think surrounding yourself with people who, when you do fail, can be like, it's okay. Like,
Let's
pick it
move
up.
on.
Let's move on.
Yes.
Let's do it.
And
Yeah.
that's what you need.
Yeah, and quit viewing failure as such a terrible negative thing, because everyone fails
Everybody
at
fails.
something.
Yes.
It's just what you do
Yes.
with it and how
Yes.
you recover
And
from
see,
it.
for me, I'll be honest in saying I did give up. I did start business school, and I thought I let that fear get to me and say, you can't do this, because that's what people were telling me. You can't do this.
Without a degree.
Right, and they were right. So I didn't go to business school, but then on the flip side, here I am now. I do have a business. I did do something with my life. I
Yep.
did make something of myself.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
let the fear get to me, but then I also took that fear and turned it into something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is great. I mean,
Yes.
that's a great example.
Yes.
So let's talk about comparison.
Ugh.
This
It's always the biggest one, you
obviously
guys.
this is the thing that we
Always.
all do, right?
Yep.
So like I with Trini and Andy like preach this all the time and
Mm-hmm.
talking about comparison, because I will literally get on Instagram and I'll go through people's stories and I'm like, well, why is she doing that and I'm not? Well, why is this happening and I'm not there or whatever? And it's like, stop, shut it down.
Yes.
So that's what I've trained myself to do now. When I start to even have that thought, I exit out.
Yes.
And I'm like, nope,
Done.
done with that. Done. Either I'm done with it or I turn it to, good for her, good for whatever, and like that's great. I have my other thing that I'm doing, and this is my space.
Right.
So that whole idea of like staying in your own lane.
And that's, I'm glad you said. My father-in-law tells me all the time. He's like, stay in your own sandbox. Which is so true.
Oh, that's a
like,
fun one.
Like,
I like it.
You stay in your sandbox, I'll stay in mine.
Yep.
And let's just get done what we need to get done and don't. Because I do that all the time as a business owner with a boutique. How many boutiques are out there?
Oh, yeah.
That I'm
Oh my
constantly,
gosh, so many.
I'm constantly comparing myself to like, oh, they have
X,
a
Y,
bigger
Z.
warehouse. They have this, that, and the other. And they have a bigger online representation. Well, great. That didn't also happen overnight.
No.
Like, it took time. And
Yep.
I'm still in my baby infant stages of the business. So it's kind of like I have to remind myself, and that's what I hear my father-in-law in the back of my head saying, stay in your sandbox.
Stay in your sandbox. That's so great.
Well, and
No,
I
it's
feel
so
like
true.
it's so easy to compare. It's so easy to get caught up on, well, they're in your mind you think they're doing better at such and such that I am.
Right.
And I do that. I literally go through this probably like a couple times a month where I will get so upset and be like, that's it. Like, I'm done doing hair and makeup. I'm over it. Like, I can't do it anymore because so-and-so is doing this or whatever it may be.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, you know what? There's more than one grocery store in the world. There's more than one coffee shop because there's so many different people. So, like, the people I'm reaching are different than the people that they're reaching.
Yeah. Right.
And so everybody has different things that they gravitate towards. Everybody has different things that they like, dislike. And so just because I don't have that person or that brand or that client doesn't, like, they might be saying the same thing about me that I don't know. You know, like, well, I'm reaching this person or that person.
Right.
And so
And there's more than enough to go around. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, like here, I'll be honest in saying 9 times out of 10, I'll be generous and say 6 times out of 10, I'm not wearing my own clothing from my own store. I buy from other local boutiques, non-local boutiques,
Target.
That's another Indie Wine Chat.
that's a whole episode.
Whole episode.
See, inspiration for the next one. But yeah, there's more than enough to go around. I don't like everything we buy. I don't buy for me. I buy for our customers. So comparison has got to stop. And it's not even just in business world. That's in mom world
Oh,
too.
it's in everything.
Oh my gosh,
Everything.
Mom shame is the new lingo.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm being mom shamed.
And that's the thing. And probably every mom is going to be for the end of time because everybody does it differently.
Yes.
And I wish people would just be like, you know what? If your children are loved and they're well taken care of, and you're doing the best that you can for them, like stop being like, oh well, I breastfed or I bottle fed, or I co-sleep, I don't co-sleep, I let them cry or I don't let them cry. You know, like
or
whatever.
I never took a
does
vacation
differently.
and left the kids, or
Whatever.
Right. Because I will be doing that.
My theory is,
Hi, Mom.
Yeah.
she's breathing, she's growing, she seems like she likes
She's
me.
loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Because there are times where I'm like walking through life and I'm like, oh my God, I'm screwing this kid up. Like,
And every parent everywhere
you feel that way no
thinks
matter
that.
what.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yeah. See, I mean, this applies to, I think, every aspect. Whether you're a
Yes.
business owner or
Or
not,
not.
or you're a
Yeah,
mom
you're
or
a
not.
mom.
Yes,
As a
or a wife or
person,
not. Yes.
whatever
Literally
you're
in
doing,
anything,
you will
yeah.
well, they get to take these vacations and I don't. Or they get to have this opportunity and I. But what I always try to get across to people is that, like, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So on the outside, you may think this person has it all together and they take these great vacations or they do this or that or whatever's important to you. But you don't know, like, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
And so trying to compare yourself to what they have and wishing you had that life or whatever, they may be looking at you and thinking the same thing.
Because I can probably guarantee you that people probably look at me and say, oh my gosh, that girl owns 4 boutiques. She drives a nice Tahoe. Her life, she probably lives in this big house. You know, people probably have these expectations of me that are not true. Let me tell you guys, we're living in a little rental right now. And let me just tell you, it's like a scene out of... I couldn't even tell you,
It's
to be
like-
quite honest with you.
It's like this little cute southern.
It is cute.
Like
Little
I
ranch
can't-
style house.
Yes.
but not
yes.
what people would imagine.
No.
And that's where people are. That's where things are happening. People probably expect that from me.
Yeah.
But that's not the truth. That's not what I love to live in, like a big, beautiful house on 10 rolling acres. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know?
But on the flip side of that, I'm not spending the money on that, which means I get to go take more vacations.
Right,
I get
right.
to do more things. So it's like it's a give and take.
So to turn this in from a lie to a truth,
Mhm.
stay in your lane.
Yep.
Or
Focus on
sandbox.
or your sandbox. Focus on what you're doing in your path, because my path is different than your path or your path, and we're all going to take different roads to get there. And that's okay.
And hopefully we meet up at the end.
Yeah, and we meet up at the end. And
here we all hanging out together.
Here we are. New York Fashion Week. Woo!
Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't wait. I think manager's a little jealous. He wasn't invited.
Oh, Nate's totally jealous, I think. So
well, maybe
Colin's
he
like,
can come.
see ya.
Maybe Nate can
Colin's like,
come.
nope.
Oh, just kidding. Nate can go. They can hang out. Because when I told Matt, he was like, oh, fun for you.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, we've got one more we want to chat a little bit about, and that is kind of what you touched on a minute ago, was expectations. And this idea of like, well, you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and with X, Y, and Z results. Someone's blowing up your phone. People want you today.
That's what happens when you have a business.
It
never
is.
stops.
It never stops. It never stops.
Sorry about that, friends.
But yeah, just that expectation of, you know, for example, being an influencer. Well, you're supposed to have 50K followers in order for you to do anything and in order for you to matter.
Yeah.
No, not true. First of all, everyone has influence. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care if you have 5 or if you have 10K or if you have 100K. Doesn't matter.
Or you're not on Instagram.
Or you're not on Instagram. Everyone has
influence. A way to influence.
Well, like,
yes.
I feel like my coupon code has been used.
Yeah,
I have like 500 followers, so you can go follow me. I have like 500 followers, and I feel like sometimes my coupon code gets used more than people who have like 50.
Yes, definitely. And so it's just,
it's not about that number.
It's not about that number. It's not about that number. And it's not about the degree you have.
Right.
It's not about the experience, like, you know, whatever. It's not about any of those things. It's just about what you are doing at that certain moment in time, what your goal is, what you're passionate about, what your purpose is, and getting there.
Yeah. But those expectations can totally get you down. Like,
they can.
A great story. We were looking at a space for one of our locations, and my husband and I walked in, and we had our broker with us and our broker's assistant, and then the 2 property management guys walked in, and one of them walked in and he handed his business card. You've heard this story.
Oh yeah, I have.
He walked in, he gave his business card to everybody in the room but me, and he literally spoke to everybody in the room but me. And when I would try to pipe up to be like, oh, we need X amount of space, he would look at Matt to like confirm. Are you kidding? Really?
You're like, not today.
Oh, honey.
No, not today. So we left there. Well, at the very end, as we're walking out, and he says, so what do you think? And Matt casually looks at me and goes, well, it's really up to her because she's the boss. And you could kind of tell he was like, oh, crap.
Oops.
So as we were leaving, our broker was like, so what do you guys think? And I said, absolutely not. I will never, ever rent a space that is affiliated with that man because of how I was treated today. And that's where I put my foot down. It may be a great location. Great, cool. It might be a cheaper location. Awesome. But because of how I was treated and knowing that I may have to work with him in the future, nope, I'm going to stand my ground and he won't get my business.
So respect everyone.
Respect everybody because you never know. But
you never know who's in charge.
He came in with an expectation that Matt was the only person in the room, or the only person out of the 2 of us who knew what was going on. And that was a lie. Mm-hmm. That was a very big lie.
Well, it's kind of even like, not that this has to do with female entrepreneurship, but that movie with, it's like The Intern or The Internship with Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn.
Oh, at Google?
Yes, with Google.
Yes.
And the guy who's like in charge, like has headphones on, is very quiet, like reserved, whatever. And then at the end you find out that he's like in charge of all of it.
Yes.
And people are like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Like you never know who's in charge.
You never know.
Yeah, so respect everybody. Yeah. But yeah, just those certain expectations that that either we feel that people are holding us accountable for, or even that we put on ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. They can be tricky, but you've just got to find a way to break those barriers. It's like, you know what? I just need to do this for me, and this is what, this is my expectation, and this is what's going to happen.
What's my own goal?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, like what we talked about earlier when we were talking about this episode was, I mean, I went to cosmetology school. I wanted to do hair. Later found out I wanted to do makeup, and when people would ask me what I was doing, because that's everybody's thing. Nobody wants to ask you, like, about who you are. They just want to know what you're doing. Like, what's your job? Which is fine, but where are you going to school? And, you know, I would tell them, and they'd say, oh, well, when are you going to go to real school? And it used to really bother me and really upset me, because I would think, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should go get a degree in something else. And then I grew up and became a little bit more confident, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is what I said I wanted to do, and this is what I love and what I'm passionate about. So why would I let somebody else who doesn't think I'm going to real school affect my student loans are paid off? You know,
Okay,
like
girl,
now,
yeah.
granted,
Cheers to
it's
that.
right.
Cheers to-
Well,
I'm
and
out of wine.
you're like, no, Birdie, drink it all. And it's fine if you choose to go that route. Everybody has their own path and their own thing of what they want to do. But like, I used to just really, I was so hard on myself, thinking like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this is, you know, I should be doing something else. But then it's just realizing like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And what do you want to do with
And I'm
it?
sorry, here's how I think about it, just from doing hair. You are trained to cut people's hair just like a doctor is trained to treat you, in my eyes.
No, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you would never question a doctor.
Yeah.
If a doctor said, oh, X, Y, and Z, and you were like, oh, okay, and you went to a hairstyle, like, it's almost like, I don't know, like, I consider them equal in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your profession and that job, because, like, how many times doing hair did you have somebody try and tell you what to do? Like, oh no, you do it this way.
Yeah.
Oh, last I checked, you weren't trained to do this, and if I do it that way,
Yeah.
this is going to be totally wrong, because they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Everybody specializes in their own thing, and
Yeah.
everybody has their own things that they want to do,
And if
whether
they
that
want to get
takes
their hair cut, then
Yeah.
somebody has to do it. Like,
Yeah.
if they want to come on a Wednesday afternoon to get their hair cut and colored, great. But there has to be somebody to do it, so don't disrespect the person that's doing
and just
it.
because it takes 1 year or you're in school for
Right.
10 years, like
Let it go.
yeah,
Let it be.
Yeah.
Stop
Let
it on
it
my
be.
And
ass.
just
Let it be.
that's true though. And just because you go to whatever people would consider a real
Real
college doesn't mean you're going to be successful either.
Right.
Right.
And both ways. I mean,
Right.
there's people
Yes.
who have a cosmetology degree that
Oh.
don't do anything with it.
Right.
There's
Right.
people who have a 4-year degree that don't do anything with it.
Right.
So
You're right.
I hate that whole just like
That
if
stigma.
you have not gone to this type of school, then
You're not.
you can't be successful.
Yeah.
Bye.
So
None of that. So stay positive, you guys.
Yeah.
Keep doing you, and you're gonna get where you want to go. But stay in your lane and
stay
just
focused.
stay focused and stop telling yourself all of these crazy lies that we tend to do and that like seep into our skin and our blood.
And
It's ridiculous.
surround yourself with the people who are going to be
Lift you
positive
up,
with
back
you
you up.
and lift you up, and always, no matter what, have your back.
Yeah.
Because that's so important.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Cheers
we
to
don't know
that.
what next week's topic is, so you'll find out next
It's a
week.
surprise for you
It's
too.
a surprise.
Probably about shopping at Target.
So we will see you guys next week. Cheers.